All right, students, we're going to cover our sanding machines for this safety information. On our sanding machines, we have a disc and belt sander, and we have spindle sanders. There's a spindle sander here, spindle sander here. All right, let's begin with the disc and belt sander. Our disc and belt sander come as a single unit. You can turn the switch on by flipping the little on switch right down here under the table. And this will run the disc and the belt. This disc spins around counterclockwise, so it's turning to your left. Anytime we want to sand on the disc sander, we're going to be sanding on the left-hand side, right? Not the right-hand side. As this spins, this side comes up out of the table, which is not where you want to sand your piece of wood. If you push a piece of wood up here against the right-hand side where it's spinning out of the table, it will lift your board up off the table and throw it in your face, possibly. But if you sand on the downstroke side, the disc pushes your board down onto the table, so it's much safer on this side. On the belt sander, we're going to keep your piece of wood on the table and push it up against the sanding belt. It does a great job for sanding ends of boards a little smoother here and here. Really good job at sanding the ends. If your board's kind of long, you don't want to sand the edge here because one side is going to be on this upstroke side, which could lift your board up and throw it in your face. All right, on the spindle sanders, as the spindle sanders spin around and around, those are used for sanding in these little valleys when we cut curves. We have different size sanders. We've got 3-inch, 4-inch, each size down smaller to a 1/2 inch or 5/8 inch, somewhere in that range. And these are really good for sanding inside of the curves. Okay, these have an on switch that spins around, goes up and down. We can sand our curves in here very simply, but they do a terrible job on humps. They do a terrific job inside circles. All right, let's take a quick look at this stuff. We'll cover our safety items for the disc and belt sander. For number 1 on your safety quiz, when you're going to use any of these sanders, if you have long hair, it needs to be tied back and secured. If you're wearing jewelry, it needs to be snug or taken off. If you have sleeves hanging or tassels hanging from your sweatshirts, those need to be tucked in so nothing's hanging. Anything that spins can grab a hold of anything that's hanging and yank it into the machine or tear it off of your body, which could be a real serious problem. So snug everything up before you come around these spinning items. That was number 1. Number 2, on the disc sander, you only are using the downstroke side. That's the left-hand half. We sand on the downstroke side. The upstroke side, you lift your board up and throw it in your face. So you're sanding on the downstroke side, or left half. Number 3, when you're sanding on this, whether you're sanding flat edges or humps, you want to apply light to moderate pressure, pushing your wood into the sander. So you're going to just touch it lightly and move the piece of wood so it sands it. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate that. You see this hump right here that has a pencil line on it? It will sand it down to that pencil line very quickly and easily. Using light pressure, not pushing hard. If you push hard, your fingers could slip across your board and you'll shove them right into the sanding disc, and that could take all your skin off your fingers. Same thing on the sand belt. It's exactly the same thing. Use light to moderate pressure. It does a fabulous job on these humps or the ends. Number 4, don't sand little small pieces on these sanders. These things spin pretty fast and they have a pretty aggressive bite, and they could yank the little pieces right out of your hands, and that leaves your fingers into the sandy thing. So don't sand very small pieces. And number 5, don't use the disc or belt sander to sand thin pieces. To sand thin pieces thinner. Okay? If you take a thin piece and you're trying to make it thinner, and you put it against there like this and push on it, once it gets a little bit thinner than this, the board's going to slide down between the belt and the table. It's going to disappear in the blink of an eye, and you're just going to shove your fingers into the sanding belt, which will take all your skin off right down to the bone. Same thing on this thing. If you're trying to sand a piece skinnier here, it's going to suck it down inside there, and you're going to sand your fingertips off. Okay, that was number 5. Don't sand thin wood thinner on the disc or belt sander. Those are your safety rules for your quiz.